good evening. You are listening live to the Extreme Movie Show. I'm your host, Rob, broadcasting to you from the cocaine-laden home of Central Florida here at the Pinos Palace, just west of Orlando, Florida, where Max Daisy, the German Czechoslovakian red, I keep doing that every fucking time, German Czechoslovakian red short-haired shepherds patrol the acreage around here. So from the tower, I can go to the Midwest where RDB joins us. And of course, somewhere else here in Florida, I have the young 20-something Professor Pixel joining me tonight as people join in. And we're going to talk about the good, the bad, and the ugly of what is supposed to be, I don't know what we're going to call it, a film called Cocaine Bear that came out this weekend. And guys, as an aside, without doing a huge deep dive on it, because you guys are the masters of all things MCU, DCU, I do want us to cover the fact that this dethroned Ant-Man and whatever the hell movie number it was, 3 on the list. But I will start off by saying that there's times in life when a man has to own things and apologize. And I want to sit there and apologize to both of you due to publicly as people come in, because originally when this first trailer came out, I was the one who said, guys, we've got to do this. I'm on it. A cocaine, a bear set in the 80s. It's got Brooklyn Prince in it, who I adore and think she's wonderful and natural talent. This is actually has an interesting cast. I love it. This is an 80s film, or it should have been, because unfortunately, I think it tries to do a couple of different things. And there's definitely patches of the film where it's trying to be one thing, then it tries to be something else. And I think on that level, it fails. And so for me, I came across a little bit disappointed at it. And while some things were fun, I just didn't think it was put together well. If it just wanted to be a one-note type movie, pure comedy, kind of gorish sort of thing, do it. But definitely, I'm going to mention a little bit about Elizabeth Banks and the whole messagey, preachy thing that some people are complaining about the movie with. That being said, I can see where people are massively entertained by it, enjoyed it. I have no idea what you guys think about it, although RDV, I suggest that probably this is a movie that you enjoyed. So you saw it the other night. Give us your initial take, and then we'll quickly go to Pixel.
With me or
Okay,
Pixel?
James, let's hear it.
No, I heard Pixel at the end. I was not sure if you were talking with me or him.
Well, that's why I said RDV, then we'll go to Pixel.
Okay. Anyway, so Pixel saw this first. I had no idea it was even coming out this week because I don't pay attention to movie trailers. I don't watch live TV. I watch live streaming if I do watch anything. Yeah, I went into this. I forgot there was even an Elizabeth Banks movie. Love the fact it was kind of like a Stranger Things, almost in a sense. Everything is back to the 80s. Obviously, I read about the real story. The bear did not survive, but the bear is on display. You can go visit it at some museums. But starts off, with the Starship, Jefferson Starship, or Jefferson Airplane, what you could call it. They have Jane playing in the very beginning. Great song. I started off, so I knew right away it was going to be like in the way of humor as Super Troopers, or some of the other early 2000s movies, and that's kind of what this felt like for early 2000s, kind of this humor sense. And throughout the whole movie, sorry, swallowed wrong, eating food. When I do drugs, I get hungry. No, so yeah, all the way through this. 1 second.
Choke on it, bro. I think he's trying to say that he liked it. Had fun.
I loved it.
Okay, you loved it and you had fun.
Yeah, it's one of the movies you can just turn your brain off. Or you don't even have to turn your brain off. It's just I don't know what people are saying or complaining about. I didn't look into it. I didn't look on Google. Mm-hmm. I went into this, just knowing it's going to be a bear snorting cocaine. Now that's going to be dumb. I expected there's going to be gore. The kids were great in this. I did like the side cop thing, the story going on. It was, then the other movie, the reason I wanted to see is because this is Ray Liotta's last movie he did before he passed away.
That's true.
I forgot that Kerry Russell is even in this. Kerry Russell's part in this was like, was typical, like your typical, your 80s mom, single mom. Disappoints the kid. The kid wants to go do something, and she's like, she'd rather go get laid. So the kid runs away with their best friend. Not really run away. They go up. You go up to this part in the park, and they're gonna go painting, but they come across some cocaine. It's just like I said. This felt like one of those movies where you can just relax. It wasn't overly over the top. I would say not great for me, but I would say it's a good movie.
Okay. All right. Good
It's
movie.
your
You had
straight to
fun.
DVD that went to theater.
Well, Pixel, let's hop over to you. What's your initial take on this film? I have no idea if you like this kind of stuff or what. I mean, it's billed as a horror comedy, and of course, I hate that term. What did you think?
I have swallowed an entire brick of cocaine. That didn't work out. Honestly, I didn't know.
Get a hold of yourself. Good God, man.
Sorry. Listen, I now need to hear Christopher Walken say the words, "I have swallowed a brick of cocaine." It's just one of those things. I prepared myself all through whatever the hell Bankman said to try to say it. I'm very disappointed.
So that was you try to pop yourself, bro.
Anyway,
what? Oh, are you talking about me? I'm sorry.
This movie is fun. It's fun. I had fun. It's not great or anything. I loved just how gruesome it could get with the bear. I think some of the side characters, they're so stupid, but they're enjoyable in their stupidity. Like the cop who just wanted to love his dog, but realized it too late.
Stupid. Not
yeah, he's totally stupid. I agree. That's the whole point.
The two
They're
goons,
all stupid.
Yeah. Sid, who's really Riota, his son, who's just a complete wreck. Did the movie? He's kind of mopey. He's kind of an idiot too. And then you got David, who's supposed to be the other guy, supposed to be helping him out, and
who just keeps losing parts of himself. He gets stabbed.
He's like, there's a scene where the cop shoots David's hand, and he's like, and they're like, how did he hit the other finger? When was he next to the other one? He's got his ring finger and his pointer finger are both blown off. He's reaching for a gun.
It's in your pocket.
At least, yeah, it's safe now. I mean, yeah, it's the what's her name? The park ranger.
Park ranger.
Yeah. The park ranger.
Her face being ground into the pavement was something amazing. I think that was probably one of the most enjoyable deaths of the movie because
you had Vest, kids, and then you had Ponytail, the three guys, the hoodlums going around. They're gonna beat up what's his name, David, and he's like, "Are you freaking kidding me?" Like, he beat the crap out of him, and they stab him in the back. It's my favorite jersey. It's got blood on it.
Not funny. That's just not funny. It's not. It's comical, I guess, is the word. But I mean, there's not one time I laughed in the movie. And the thing about it is the controversy, just to kind of get it out there about this movie. And this is where I hate how sensitive people are today, because I certainly had zero issues with this at all. I said that Brooklyn, I keep wanting to say Decker, which isn't right. Brooklyn Prince, I believe is her name. I've enjoyed her. I've known about her since the Florida Project, obviously. I think she's a natural person on screen, an actress and all that. We'll see what happens as she gets older. I like the idea of her in those really bad Georgia accents, because it's got everything that says the South in it: pine trees, some of the orange clay. Even though this was filmed in Ireland, which of course means it, looks nothing like the South. But I like the fact that they're on their little journey. They're going to get chased by the bear, and I like how they discovered the cocaine and how they actually took some each, and the kids lying about it, trying to impress her. All that stuff's fine, and that was the controversy. Oh my God, how dare you show two 12-year-old kids having cocaine? I'm like, yeah, in the 80s, cocaine was like the elite drug. If you could get your hands on it, that's fine. And then when you got crack later, that was different. But I just think that she tried saying that one of her comments, Miss Banks, is that this movie is supposed to be a parody of the failed war on drugs. And, back, they even showed some of the stuff in here that was popular back then, such as the commercials about this is your brain on drugs and all that stuff. And
at the very beginning, yeah.
I thought that was great having those in there.
I liked it too. It popped me, but the point
the war on drugs did fail.
Just trying to have this subtle message in it about the movie rather than just saying, okay, I'll have a bear and cocaine and hijinks ensue. And so to me, regardless of the CGI stuff, which I won't even bash on it that bad, and mention some of the things you guys already did about the violence, I have no problems with the violence in it at all, but violence in itself, especially if it's really graphic, is not funny or cute, especially with the face being ground. I mean, there's a way to do it that's funny, kind of like we talk about on Ash versus the Evil Dead, let's say. But again, it's not scary. And I think this movie, there's some scenes where it seems kind of tense, and you're like, hey, this could kind of go in a horror direction a little bit, but then it doesn't. And it's hard because you guys are right. All the characters are kind of the same. They're all kind of stupid. They're all kind of dumb. They didn't have really that much of a different personality that you could do different things with them or have different scenes. They were just there for the body count, and
Yeah.
that's all great
Yep.
and fine. But it's have a little variety in your characters, for God's sakes. I mean, I don't know. Like I say, it's a thing where you're right. RDV is a movie to check your brain at the door. The messaging I thought was pretty overt, but just a lot of it just really wasn't funny. I think it's the type of movie where if you watch it once, you might laugh or you think some things are funny. But if you got to watch it a second time, I wonder if you'll laugh a second time. Does that make sense?
Well,
I laughed more during Violent Night.
Which is awful to me. But,
yeah, like I said, I did not get the message at all. I mean, unless so I don't know if Elizabeth said something in an interview, and that's where people get upset about that.
I don't know. I just
Yeah,
came across
but-
some reviews of the movie because everyone's talking about how great the movie is.
Because like I said, the very opening, the war on drugs thing, the whole thing, I thought that was hilarious because the war on drugs pretty much did fail. Especially when our government's actually embezzled with all the drug stuff. It's just like all the corruption stuff. But like I said, it's over. These are campers. These are people that are going to die. The real focus is on the two kids. And the one kid who plays Henry, Christian Convery, was hilarious in this.
He was good. I did enjoy him.
And you got the other camper up there. The park ranger, the guy with the park ranger liked. He's up there climbing on top. He's like, why are you up? He's like, well, no. He's like, so the bear wouldn't give me. He's like, the bear could climb trees. I was like, what? And then of course because the guy had cocaine on it ran down and smelled the cocaine, jumped down the tree because it was trying to get Henry up the tree. It ran up to the other tree where the other guy was, and just ripped him apart. You see him hanging there.
The kid going, I climbed because bears can't climb trees. Of course they can. It was great. I want to say, I obviously Ray Liotta. That is a terrible loss. I will say, in this movie though, he showed some real guts.
See, and that's not even really funny either. I mean. The Cubs is an interesting angle, but they didn't. So the point is you have these very obvious lines and dialogue and setups, right? And she doesn't do anything with any of them at all once. And it's like, yeah, okay, it's easy to say that joke, and you knew it was going to happen with the Cubs. As soon as you saw them, you knew they were going to be involved, right? You knew they were going to possibly be involved in, say, a sequel, right? It's. I mean, it's so obvious that's fine, but when it's obvious and everybody knows it, then it becomes about the execution to me, and that's where I just think it kind of falls short. It's like she just slapped together something because she kind of could, and that's it.
Well,
and that's
I put this on the level of Halloween and Jason. To be they're just so corny. They're not like people like them, I don't get it.
I wouldn't say the first Jason or two is corny. I mean, anything after that, sure.
Friday the 13th, because you didn't see Jason whatsoever, so it's kind of like a clickbait.
True.
Yeah. And the whole Mike. Actually, not just in the Michael Myers part. It's like I just never been understand why people can't just kill him or behead him. How does he?
Because that's the whole point.
Is he supernatural or is he
a force of evil, pure evil?
Yeah, like I just said, that's why the only movie that I liked out of the Halloween was Halloween 6 with Paul Rudd because he brought humor to it.
That's the least funny of all the Halloween movies.
Oh, to me, that's the best. But anyway, I'm getting off track here. When I saw the bears here, the little cubs, I went back to Dragon Slayer, which we reviewed on here.
Right.
The princess gets eaten by the bear, the little cubs.
Yeah, that was funny.
Ray Liotta gets the princess treatment from Dragon Slayer.
Yep, he does. He does.
Only after Mama comes in to go ahead and open up dinner.
Oh, dude, he fired 2 shots and the mama bear falls down. I'm like, this is like Lion King.
But then the cocaine sprinkles down and brings a burst of life into Mama Bear.
Like I said, this is stupid comedy. I'm not gonna say it's smart comedy. It's stupid comedy, and that's what the likes of Super Troopers and a lot of these others like Reno 911. Same with I mean the Will Ferrell movies you watch, Night of the Roxbury. It's stupid comedy. So
okay. It's just it wasn't really comedic. It was just sort of there, and yeah, the scenes are comedy scenes, right? And we know that we know what the scene's going to be and how it's going to develop, and then we just have to watch it. And it's like, yep, okay, and nothing, not a twist. There wasn't like one creative thing in there, or and at the end when she's like, "What are you?" and she's like, "I'm a mom." It's like, yeah, that's not funny.
what do you
When
mean?
she
What
goes
do
to
you mean
save the
by
guy
not creative?
again.
What would have been creative for this movie?
Well, so like for example, we mentioned how we get the bear gets shot twice, and it appears to be laying there dead, motionless until it gets a whiff of the cocaine, and they get supercharged. You know what I kept thinking of this movie? I said, you know what? We saw Crank and Crank 2, and at least there was a reason why he had to keep his heart rate over like 80 or whatever it was, and so that was kind of interesting and all that. This movie just reminded me of that a little bit. It just lacked any fun into it because they're all going to meet up together. They take the different paths. They all get to the waterfall. Obviously, we're going to get some body count stuff going on here. The two goof guys or whatever, the guy that loses his body parts. I know that's supposed to be funny and a running gag, but it wasn't funny from the beginning or the end. It's just you have a tough fight in the bathroom like they do there. Make it funny. Don't make it kind of whatever. And honestly, with the graphics, the violence, some of it was pretty brutal and gory, which I appreciate that. But in a comedy film, it's just got to be done a bit differently because if something makes you kind of like or whatever, you know, I mean, I don't know, maybe Ray Liotta holding on to the end of the cliff or whatever, and the cubs are chewing the intestines or whatever like that, and then the bear like stands on his hands or something. You could have been really stupid with it. Just do something different.
Honestly, I would have loved that the bear would have picked up the gun and shot him. That would
have been over the top and ridiculous, and that would have fit for the movie. But like I said, this movie tries a little bit with the opening. It is a good opening. I agree with you. I like the music. I like him hitting his head. Huh?
What if Ray Liotta had fallen face first into the cocaine? His vision got trippy. He stood up, and then he turned back and saw the bear pick up the gun and shoot him. Because now you can just say it's the cocaine.
It's again, like I say, Violent Night, which I did not like. At least they tried to be somewhat creative in some of their action sequences and stuff. And I've always hated that term horror comedy because this movie is not scary at all.
It is believable though because I've seen Zach with coffee.
I don't get the reference, and I'm sure nobody else does.
Well, coffee addicts, they get their second wind. They get the buzz. They're ready to go. Cocaine, man, works the overdrive. This is the whole point of the movie was, in fact, it's a bear with cocaine. So if you expected anything like other than more creative than that, you're kind of putting too much more into the movie than what was there. Hopes, but like I said,
I don't think so at all. I'm talking about the scenes that were presented to us. They were
hilarious.
They were completely unoriginal, and not one was really funny.
It doesn't have to be an original. Okay,
agreed. So and if it's not going to be original, then the execution is what's important.
Nothing's original in Hollywood, though. Everyone copies everyone else.
Okay, so what did this movie copy?
As far as humors,
yeah,
people getting shot and getting it back up, or as far as the bear takes the cocaine, gets back up. We've seen this with bad guys in the 80s where they're shot, they're dead, and then all of a sudden they're back up.
I kept thinking Scarface. I was like, are we going to get a Scarface type moment in this movie? And we didn't. Maybe Scarface could have been on the TV, in the background while they're doing something or whatever. I don't know.
Yeah. Actually, it would still be weird if the Killer Kid would have had like a Scarface t-shirt. But
it's mentioned in there in chat. He goes, he hasn't seen it yet, but Elizabeth Banks thought she'd be canceled for it, so it must be good. Ed, it'll be interesting to hear your take on it once you see it over like that. If you just joined us, I'm disappointed. I didn't really think it was that good or funny. I didn't really hate it. It was just sort of mid at best or whatever. And it's not a good film, which it doesn't have to be, but as long as it's entertaining, I really was entertained. And the thing I'd mentioned earlier about the kids, taking cocaine was mildly amusing. Maybe it'd have been cooler if the kids saw the Cubs and started feeding them cocaine or whatever, and then they like sick them on the bad guys or something like that. That might have been more fun, I guess. I don't know, but yeah, it's what you expect. But I go, wow,
I mean,
it's
I
rare
would
that
have
we've had a
laughed
movie like this.
or if they had an alternate ending in order to defeat what's his name with the gun, Ray Liotta with the gun. If they would have chucked the cocaine at him. Or broke it
Something.
open.
I mean, look,
But
I know
guess,
Ray Liotta died, right?
Yeah.
So everyone's like, it's a memory of Ray Liotta, and we always like him when he plays a heavy. But even in here, he doesn't get really anything to shine, I guess.
He's kind of the background character. He's the main villain. He sends his two goons to do his job. You do their job, get this cocaine back. They're incompetent. Everyone's incompetent. The cops are incompetent. It's just meant to be stupid. Everyone in there, no one's supposed to be above and beyond. I'm surprised nobody bitched about the fact that she caught the rifle and aimed it at him.
Oh, I didn't think of that. Yeah.
Oh, she's a Mary Sue because she caught the gun. Yeah.
Well, I'm out of words here. I really don't know what else to say.
I have swallowed an entire brick of cocaine.
This is if you like Stranger Things, you like nostalgia movies, and you like stupid comedies, this is the movie for you. It's got everything, even the bare. It's even got the bare necessities in here.
The bare necessities of cocaine.
Cocaine, it's a hell of a drug, bro.
Johnny, if you haven't seen our Infinity Pool review, go watch that because I'm
Low T Skarsgård.
Yeah.
At least Infinity Pool had a certain sense of character to it. It had some style, and if you're gonna just be blah about it, put your own spin on it. Have a certain flair to it. And that's what Cocaine Bear missed out on. I just, I like the concept. I really wanted to be like that, and I kept thinking, man, if this was actually made in the '80s as like a B movie by somebody that was a B movie one, like if this is a canon film, it would be fucking tremendous because it would be a little bit better and different. I don't know how else to explain it other than that.
If it's going to be like the long-term movies. You're going to have sequels to these. Guaranteed, you'll have sequels. It's people are going to watch it, enjoying it. So
that's right, Cocaine Sheep.
Well, she mentioned Shark or whatever too, and part of me goes, well, I guess if you can slap together a low-budget movie like this and it makes money, more power to you. Because certainly we've had our Leprechauns and everything else, but at least there was a certain sense of character among some of those.
I'm sorry, Leprechaun in the Hood.
You try a rapping leprechaun? Are you kidding me? Making fun of the '90s urban stuff. That was gold printed.
I saw that scene of him. I think it was him and Ice Cube. They're in the bathroom. Gives him the blunts. A friend with weed is a friend indeed.
A friend with weed is a friend indeed. See, even that's funnier than anything that happens in Cocaine Bear to me. All right, Pixel, give us some more feedback here as we get ready to close this up.
Don't go painting waterfalls. They belong to the rivers. And I don't get the fucking painting waterfalls bit. I thought they were going to have to use the paint at one point and go ahead and show what the fuck they're doing. Sorry, that's a little brutal, but I really wanted to know, what the hell do you mean by painting waterfalls?
Art class.
I thought they were going to go out there and fool around because at 12, maybe they're going to smoke a little weed and get down and just do stuff or whatever.
They did cocaine.
That's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about the birds and the bees and
all I don't want to see
things.
12 is a little bit much.
That would turn it into cooties, bro.
12 is a little bit much. I think you're closer to like.
They acted like they were 8, for God's sakes. They didn't act like 12-year-olds in the 80s. I'm telling you, girls that age back then, and guys were wearing mesh and all sorts of weird stuff. And frankly, the kid didn't even have a mullet like he should have had. You saw the house she walked out of. That was a shithole shack. I mean, come on.
Why wasn't 12-year-old Henry wearing the black mesh T-shirt like what's his name from Commando?
I don't know. I'm in the minority out of this group, guys, and I'm sure most people will tell you how grave a film it is. I just don't see it. I don't really think it was that fun or that entertaining, but it is worth a watch. The concept itself is interesting. And one of the things I did want to ask and bring up too, because again, I'm not a big fan of the CGI fest of the DC and Marvel movies, generally speaking. But I guess the current, was it Ant-Man 3, I guess, that's out. Usually those movies do well for a couple of weeks and then drop off. But apparently Cocaine Bear had great word of mouth or hype about it. It was a good commercial. It was the type of fun movie I think people wanted to go see. Maybe it would have done even better over the summer. I don't know. But why do you guys think this movie ended up being more popular than Ant-Man?
People are
Seriously.
stupid.
One, it's not MCU.
People
People have MCU fatigue, and this is like a comedy you can just go watch with your friends and laugh at people getting murdered.
Listen, I am just going to go ahead and say that the fact that people are going ahead and they're saying, "Oh, that I prefer watching this over Ant-Man." They were just looking for something stupid. This is stupid. Ant-Man has more depth to it than this.
Really?
I didn't. Yes, really. I think Ant-Man, while it is a light. If you like a comic book, you're going to like Ant-Man, or at least you should, because it's like a little comic book miniseries in 2 hours. I really enjoyed it. And the fact that it's being slammed so like, oh, this is worse than Eternals. Are you freaking kidding me? God.
I'll say this though. I think if Rob, did you like the sequel to The Babysitter?
It was okay. It was better than this film.
This is the same writer.
Is it?
Yeah, this guy also directed a movie called Borderline.
Yeah, that one I don't know. The one thing I forgot to point out here, and I'll point this out of the movie, and then I'll close with it. Is I find it interesting on a meta level that a lot of people are taking stuff from the 80s, and I keep going back to it because I think most younger writers today, or in this case directors like Elizabeth Banks, obviously everyone's reaching for something to go, hey, we'll mishmash this stuff together and it'll be like an 80s film that's fun and all that. Like I said, if this was actually made in the 80s by an 80s company, it would have worked. I think here it fails because it's trying to do a couple different things, and there's patches of just stuff that's not funny at all. But even Jeffrey Osborne on The Wings of Love in here, where the one guy's listening to it, it's supposed to be kind of comical, great tune or whatever like that. It's not a goofy, one-off type of song or whatever like that. And it's just, I kept thinking, you can plug in 80s stuff like this, like the music at the beginning and cocaine and everything that's 80s, but that doesn't make it an 80s film. And I really do feel like the idea of this, I'd like to have seen this redone by somebody that knows what the fuck they're doing, I guess is my point. And that's what's disappointing to me about it. Not upset, but just, I felt like they reached for the lowest common denominator, didn't really try or put any effort into it. And they had an interesting cast, and the one dude that's a social media guy, I forget his name, and character in here, I thought he came across as being natural, but again, that's what a lot of studios are doing today, is going, well, we don't really care about the movie, but how can we interject places where we can reduce our advertising budget, and that's have influencers get on there and talk about it. And I admit that the guy did a great job, because I remember seeing him pop up on my Twitter feed as we were talking about doing this film, where he's like, hey, what do you need to know to go see Cocaine Bear? And he's like, absolutely nothing. I'm like, you know what, damn it, that's genius marketing. And I thought he did a fine job in it. So I mean, there's some mild positives too in terms of the way movies are being made now, but like I said, for me it just didn't work. That's my final thought.
Yeah, and I got to point out, this is what you're experiencing here is this movie is a split movie. There are a lot of people who love it, and there's a lot of people who just didn't care for it. I'm looking at Google, and I'm basing it off of Google right here, 3.7 out of 5. But you look at the biggest reviews are ones, but actually the biggest reviews as far as the most reviews is a 5. The 5-star reviews, a lot of that. But other than that, the ones are catching up. So it's they're very split. And like I said, this is a movie you can just take your girlfriend to go see, whatever,
Yeah, I mean,
it's a Valentine's movie.
I don't know. It just, like I said, it just didn't work for me. That's what we talk about here on Extreme Movie Show, because this seemed like a no-brainer, right? I mean, for God's sakes, we've done like Gore and Barbarian Queen and all these obscure things too, right? For God's sake. So absolutely we'll tackle something like this, but I was just surprised, because I thought out of the three of us, I'd be the one defending the movie, and here I am feeling like it's the opposite. So any other final thoughts there, RDV, before we go to Pixel? Call it a night.
Not much, but apparently this movie is sniffing up $23.1 million. so far.
Jesus. I will say that people do want to have fun, and I agree with you
Yeah.
on that. And I think this movie, even though I don't think
Yeah.
it is, I think because we're so starved for it, it satisfies a need, just like we talked about with Top Gun last year. So there's merit to it in that it presented itself well, that it's supposed to be that kind of movie. Pixel, your final thoughts?
Well, don't think of it as the opposite, please, because, like I said, I had a fun time with this movie. I had fun, but there is no way that I'm saying that this is even better than Ant-Man.
I don't know anything about Ant-Man, too. I
I'll
just
just
know
say
that
this:
that's being
if you're
requested.
looking for escape all the Marvel and the DC movies, or you're just sick and tired of everything's being superheroes, and you miss the days when we had Super Troopers and some of these other movies like role model stuff, check out this.
If you're tired of superheroes, there are still movies being made that aren't connected to any universes.
And
Well,
that supernatural horror movies.
This isn't supernatural. Come on.
I didn't say it was. I'm just saying it feels like it's either superhero movies or it's a horror movie or supernatural.
Yeah, and on that note, just talking about some movies that we'll probably be doing here when they come out here over the next couple months. Obviously, there's a pretty slick Exorcist kind of rehash a little bit with Russell Crowe in it, which, damn it, I love Russell Crowe, so I'll see it because he's in it. I believe Tuesday night we're going to be doing Plane with Gerard Butler, which is actually gave me the opposite feeling. It was better than I thought it was going to be, and I can't wait to dive in that.
I'll say that the
arguably.
Gerard Butler Plane is better than this. Mainly
Absolutely.
because it's an action movie. I love action movies.
Yeah.
But I can sometimes I can watch stupid comedy movies.
And as bad as Renfield looks to me, I imagine we'll be covering that as well. So there you go.
You know what?
Dracula.
I hope that movie takes a bite out of everyone's expectations and just does well. Hope it doesn't suck.
Yeah, that's really good humor there. I like how you delivered it. The only scene
Speaking of
McGruff the Crime Dog, where he'd take a bite out of crime, but even Smokey Bear couldn't save this. No.
And he was in this too.
He was in this.
Yeah.
All
right, guys. Anything you guys got to promote before we call it?
Make sure to join us next Sunday for the finale of Dark Shadows, a Dan Curtis production here on the Xtreme Movie Show. Also, check out me on the other show that I love, Mad Men with a Box. And then there are puppets, and they are on the Geeky Puppet Show. Watch them.
Yes, watch them as they whip the slaves.
No, that's Zach. That's Zach.
Wait, that's Zach. Ooh. No. I'll just say final thoughts of this, man. Just don't spend the $12 for a day show.
It's not a $12 movie.
No movies are. $12 in the day for anything is just beyond ridiculous.
I pay for AMC, whatever the hell it's called, where I get to watch 3 movies a week, every week, for a month. And that's $25.
I'm glad
I'll just say this: that the pretzel bites I had were just about as good as the movie is. You know what you're getting, and that's what you got.
Well, there you go, ladies and gentlemen. Cocaine Bear, the good, the bad, and the ugly, or the mid, or whatever we want to call it of it. But it's an interesting movie to discuss because of how well it's doing, despite the reviews. And it's always interesting to see if there's any ideas that come out. You know what? This may be one of those movies that we forget about now that we're all talking about, but later in the year we're referencing it compared to some other things. And it's interesting to kind of bring that up on a meta level, talking about the state of movies and everything else there too. And so that's what we discuss.
Yeah, I'm shocked this wasn't filmed in 3D. That would have been way better for me.
Bear.
When the bear come jumping into the thing, they actually would have shown the bear coming at him instead of the side jumping in the ambulance and have that in 3D. Man, that would have been cool. But
well, maybe it would have.
Oh,
and
yeah,
you know what?
Also,
it would have been better than what they had in it. I'll just say that.
If you're gonna have look, there was one comment though. I laughed out loud. What happened to feminism? Because the door was stopped locked, so the female ambulance driver couldn't get. Let me do it. She couldn't get up. He's joking with her. The male guy. He's like, yeah, what happened to all the feminists? She's like, shut up and help me. So there is some good parts in the movie.
I'm glad you laughed at that.
That was well, of course I laugh at that. I laugh at all that crap. If you're offended by everything, I'm gonna laugh at you because you're offended, and I'll keep laughing. Let's just say, if you want to watch this movie, watch it on DVD, watch it on streaming. But don't but as far as theaters go, don't spend the $12 for. I don't care what movie. I don't care if it's freaking like a the best movie coming out. You're like, oh my god, we're excited for this. Wait till it hits, DVD.
I've seen better stuff on Chiller. All right, guys, there you have it. Cocaine Bear. Have a good night. Always see you Tuesday night for Playing with Gerard Butler with RDB and I. Coming to you on that 8
Rob
o'clock
and I
Eastern.
drive a plane and we try to crash land it.
Yeah, we're going to talk about a plane that had real drugs and real action in it, and we'll talk about how it's so much better than Cocaine Bear. And it's got Gerard Butler, who's very underrated, I think, and not just a romantic singer. It's like, damn it, I like this guy. This movie was better than it
We
deserved
need to have like a Gerard Butler like marathon, like just of movies just to review.
Well, we get on cocaine, maybe that'll happen. Good night, all. Stay extreme.
You guys give me some of that cocaine?